Around £15 billion is going into your Warm Houses plan to cut energy bills. Reform's Richard Tice previously labelled your policy of net stupid zero. With Reform polling consistently at first place for over a year, how would you respond to a voter who might say your plan simply won't be in place for long enough?
What I would say is that the cost of living crisis is the biggest issue facing the country, and we want to do the right thing for the country. Now, we're taking £150 of costs off bills in April. That's the result of the action the Chancellor took in the budget, but we want to do more. And we know that upgrading homes is one of the best things we can do. And this is a comprehensive plan. It's the biggest investment we've ever seen in upgrading homes. And there's a whole range of things we're doing. So first of all, private renters will get higher standards from their landlords. That will help cut their bills. We're investing in social housing to tackle fuel poverty. And we're providing grants and loans for things like heat pumps and solar panels to make it more affordable for people to get that clean tech in order to cut their bills. The affordability crisis is the moral mission of the government. Tackling fuel poverty is too, and that's what this plan is all about.
4 out of 5 households won't be affected by this plan. So will their bills still fall? And if so, by how much?
We've said that we'll cut bills for everybody by up to £300 by 2030, and we're going to keep to that promise. And things like taking £150 off bills in April will make a big difference to that. But we also want more people to get help. Now, there are 5 million homes, 5 million families who will initially get benefit from this plan. We'll obviously want to do more over time, but this is what we think is a realistic estimate of what this spending will do. But everyone can be eligible. Anyone can take up these opportunities of the grants or the loans, and it's for people to come forward if it suits them. It's their choice to come forward and take advantage of the opportunities that there are.
Some Orkney beaches in Scotland are reportedly facing nuclear waste spillage because of your plans to introduce green energy sea cables. What assurances can you give voters that you will continue to protect the natural environment in your fight to deliver cheaper energy?
I mean, I'm certainly not aware of that story. The biggest threat to the natural environment is climate change. And that's why it's so important that we transition to clean energy, because that's the way to tackle the climate crisis and the way to bring down bills and the way to create good jobs. We take the natural environment incredibly seriously and its protection, and obviously alongside that, tackling the climate crisis too.
You've talked about the war in Ukraine being a detriment to bill prices in the UK. With Trump imposing tariffs on allies over Greenland, America's role in ending the war perhaps seems increasingly unlikely. How will your One Home plan prepare Brits for a reality where oil and gas prices remain at record highs?
We want to do
in future.
We want to do everything we can to avoid a trade war with the United States. And on Greenland, the most important thing we can do is set out our position, as the Prime Minister has done, that the sovereignty of Greenland is a matter for the people of Greenland and the people of Denmark, and then work with the US and indeed our allies on Arctic security, which is an important issue. But we must avoid a trade war at all costs. On your point about gas, I think this illustrates a really important point, which is at the moment we are subject to that roller coaster of fossil fuel markets controlled by the petrostates and dictators and shaped by geopolitical events. Much better to have homegrown clean power that we control. That's what we saw with the offshore wind announcement we made last week, 12 million homes to be powered by those new offshore wind turbines. We want to take back control of our energy, and that's what we're doing.
Given the US is absent from COP30 last year, and China perhaps providing quite underwhelming targets till 2035, do you think now is a good time to reward China with a super embassy in London?
I think the decision on the Chinese embassy was made on its own merits, and I think it was the right decision. On the wider picture on the climate crisis, I think what's really interesting is that when President Trump said he was going to pull out of the Paris Agreement, lots of people forecast a domino effect, lots of other countries pulling out. That's not happened. 193 countries at COP30 said they still supported the Paris Agreement, said they still wanted to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees and abide by working together. So I think what's interesting about this is that countries are carrying on moving forward on tackling climate change because they recognize it's in their economic interest. It's the way for them to have energy security, to cut bills and create good jobs.
Tony Blair once talked in his book about struggling to get things done while in government. A colleague of yours, Wes Streeting, has urged Labour ministers to stop blaming the bureaucracy and system for the slow pace of change. I wonder, how have you found navigating through the civil service to deliver your Warm Homes plan? And is there anything you wish you could have included, but perhaps didn't quite get there?
I think ministers decide, and that's the way government works. And I'm really proud of my relationship with the civil service, and I'm proud of what we've achieved in this department over the last 18 months, whether it's the Warm Homes Plan or a record offshore wind industry auction or power for more than 8 million homes that has been consented, or all of the clean energy jobs plan to create 400,000 jobs across our country, or the setting up of Great British Energy. All of these things that we're doing have been done working as a team with the civil service. I find that actually the people in my department really want to make the government a success and work for the country, and that's what I enjoy doing with them.
And just one final question, if I may. Some reports are suggesting your department has been asking energy companies to give the government more credit for reducing bills, with energy bills reportedly rising by £200 on average since you took office. Can you understand why some voters might struggle to believe the cuts you're claiming that will be delivered in this plan?
Well, those reports are wrong. And look, what we want is to get bills down. Now, actually, the price cap in 2025 was lower than the price cap overall in 2024, but bills are too high. And that's why we took the action we did to raise taxes on the wealthy in order to cut energy bills by £150, take £150 of costs off bills this coming April. But we know there's more to do, because the affordability crisis is the number one issue facing people. That's why we made the pledge to reduce bills by up to £300 by 2030. That remains our pledge to people. We are determined to do that, because we know the cost of living crisis facing people is really deep, and we want to do everything we can to tackle it.